Venezuelan drug cartel converts 3 cargo ships into floating cocaine laboratories. $2 billion operation at sea. U.S. Navy takes down the entire network. This is Navy Wire. Joint Interagency Task Force South receives intelligence from DEA undercover operative. Venezuelan cartel operating something unprecedented. Not smuggling finished cocaine, manufacturing it at sea, on cargo ships, in international waters, beyond jurisdiction, beyond law enforcement reach. The intelligence describes 3 vessels, former bulk carriers, 400 feet long each, registered in Panama, flying flags of convenience, operating in Caribbean waters. But they're not carrying legitimate cargo. They're carrying cocaine processing equipment, industrial-scale laboratories, producing hundreds of kilograms daily. This represents evolution in narco-trafficking. Traditional labs operate on land, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, jungle facilities, remote locations. But those labs are vulnerable, subject to raids, government crackdowns, interdiction of precursor chemicals. So cartels innovated. Put the labs on ships, keep them moving, operate in international waters where law enforcement jurisdiction becomes complex. The 3 ships form floating drug factory. First vessel processes coca paste, raw material from South American cultivation. Second vessel refines into cocaine base. Third vessel produces pure cocaine hydrochloride. Final product, ready for distribution. The entire production chain at sea, mobile, difficult to detect, harder to stop. U.S. Navy receives mission tasking on November 15th. Find these ships, stop the operation, seize the vessels, arrest the personnel. But there's a problem. 3 cargo ships in Caribbean Sea, millions of square miles, thousands of commercial vessels. How do you find 3 specific ships that look like ordinary cargo carriers? Captain David Chen commands USS Porter, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Flight 2IA configuration, SPY-1D radar, sophisticated sensors. But finding drug labs disguised as cargo ships requires more than radar, requires intelligence, requires surveillance, requires patience. The intelligence fusion begins. NSA provides signals intelligence, intercepted satellite phone calls, encrypted communications. They identify phone numbers used by cartel operatives. Track those numbers. Plot positions. DEA contributes human intelligence. Informant reports. Port activity. Ship movements. Coast Guard adds maritime domain awareness. Automatic identification system data. Vessel tracking. Movement patterns. What's your preferred method for locating hidden threats? Type A for satellite surveillance. Type B for human intelligence. Type L for signals intercept. The analysis reveals patterns. 3 ships that never enter port together, never dock in major harbors. They anchor in remote locations, deep water areas, away from shipping lanes. They rendezvous with smaller boats, fast boats, supply vessels bringing precursor chemicals, coca paste, provisions. 1 ship identified as MV Atlantic Horizon, Panamanian flag, 420 feet long, 8,500 tons. Last legitimate cargo manifested 2 years ago. Since then, minimal port calls, mostly anchored off Colombian coast. Second ship named MV Caribbean Star, similar profile. Third vessel is MV Ocean Trader, all 3 following suspicious patterns. Navy Wire has investigated narco-maritime operations before, but floating laboratories represent unprecedented threat, where elite naval operations meet transnational crime. The technology, the scale, the audacity. USS Porter receives coordinates. Atlantic Horizon located 180 nautical miles northwest of Cartagena. International waters. The Porter transits at 28 knots. ETA 6 hours. Captain Chen briefs his crew. This isn't standard interdiction. This is takedown of criminal enterprise, potential armed resistance, chemical hazards, complex boarding operation. The Porter brings specialized assets. Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment, Lidette Team. 6 Coast Guardsmen trained for maritime interdiction. They carry M4 rifles, body armor, chemical protective equipment. These are the personnel who will actually board and search the vessel once Porter stops it. November 16th, 0430 hours. Porter arrives on station. The Atlantic horizon visible on radar. 40 nautical miles ahead. Anchored. Not moving. Nighttime approach. Chen orders dark ship. Running lights off. Radar minimized. Stealthy approach. Don't alert the target until boarding team is ready. At 0520 hours, Porter closes to 5,000 yards. Atlantic horizon still anchored. Lights visible on deck. Activity. People moving. The destroyer's surveillance team photographs the cargo ship using long-range thermal imaging. The images reveal something unusual. Heat signature from midship area. Intense thermal output. Far more than normal ship operations would generate. Chemical processing generates heat. Lots of heat. The reactions involved in cocaine production are exothermic. They require temperature control, cooling systems. The thermal signature confirms what intelligence suggested. This isn't cargo ship, it's floating laboratory. Stay with me. The boarding operation gets more dangerous than anyone expected. Porter launches rigid hull inflatable boat. RHIB with leadette team. 6 Coast Guardsmen. 2 Navy boat crew. Armed. Equipped for chemical environment. They approach Atlantic horizon from stern. Low-profile approach. Engine noise masked by ocean sounds. At 0542 hours, RHIB reaches the cargo ship. Team leader Chief Petty Officer Marcus Williams orders grappling hooks deployed. The Coast Guardsmen scale the hull, fast rope techniques. Within 90 seconds, all 6 team members are on deck. Weapons ready, spreading out, clearing spaces. The ship's crew reacts with surprise, not resistance. Surprise. 12 Venezuelan nationals on deck. Hands go up immediately. No weapons visible. No fight. They surrender without incident. Williams secures the personnel. Zip tie restraints. Seated on deck. Guarded. But the real discovery comes below deck. Williams leads 2 team members into the superstructure, down to cargo holds. What they find exceeds intelligence estimates. The entire midship cargo hold converted into chemical processing facility, industrial equipment, reaction vessels, distillation columns, filtration systems, everything needed for large-scale cocaine production, housed in climate-controlled environment, with backup power generation and advanced ventilation. Hundreds of drums containing precursor chemicals, acetone, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, potassium permanganate. These are legal chemicals, but in these quantities, with this equipment, only one purpose: cocaine manufacturing. Williams photographs everything, documents the operation, calls for chemical specialists from Porter. The Porter's damage control team includes personnel trained in hazardous materials. They board with detection equipment, air quality monitors, chemical identification tools. The readings confirm dangerous environment. Acetone vapors, acid fumes. Without proper ventilation and protective equipment, extended exposure would be lethal. The team also finds finished product, approximately 800 kilograms of pure cocaine. Street value exceeding $80 million, packaged, ready for transfer. This one ship alone represents massive drug seizure. But the mission isn't complete. 2 more ships remain. Intelligence analysts on Porter Review intercepted communications. The Atlantic Horizon crew made distress calls before boarding. Short burst transmissions. The other 2 ships received the messages. They're fleeing. Caribbean Star heading east. Ocean Trader going north. Both ships underway at maximum speed. Approximately 14 knots. Slow by naval standards, but they have 6-hour head start. Captain Chen coordinates with JIATF South. Request additional assets, Coast Guard cutters, patrol aircraft, other Navy ships. The response is rapid. USS Jason Dunham, another R. Lee Burke destroyer, diverts to intercept Caribbean Star. Coast Guard cutter Stratton moves to cut off Ocean Trader. P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft from Jacksonville provides aerial surveillance and coordinates the multi-ship intercept operation across hundreds of square miles of ocean. The P-8 locates Caribbean Star at 1420 hours. Ship position 240 nautical miles east of Puerto Rico, moving east at 13 knots. The aircraft conducts low-level pass, photographs the vessel, confirms identity, relays coordinates to Jason Dunham. USS Jason Dunham, commanded by Commander Lisa Park. She pushes her ship to 32 knots, closing distance rapidly. The destroyer will reach Caribbean Star in 5 hours, but Park doesn't wait. She launches her helicopter, MH-60R Seahawk, armed with precision rifles, door gunners, leadette team aboard. The Seahawk reaches Caribbean Star at 16:15 hours, circles the ship, loudspeaker warnings broadcast in Spanish and English. Stop your vessel immediately, prepare for boarding. Failure to comply will result in use of force. The cargo ship doesn't stop, doesn't acknowledge, keeps running. Commander Park authorizes warning shots. The Jason Dunham's 5-inch gun fires 3 rounds, splashes 100 meters ahead of Caribbean Star's bow. Water columns 50 feet high. Message clear. Stop or we shoot closer. The cargo ship finally reduces speed, then stops, dead in the water. Crew visible on deck. No resistance anticipated. What would you have done when the vessel refused initial commands? Comment your tactical approach below. The Seahawk hovers over Caribbean Star. Leadette team fast ropes onto deck. 8 personnel. Weapons ready. They secure the ship quickly. 18 crew members. All Venezuelan. All compliant. No fight. No weapons. These are chemists and technicians, not soldiers. They know they're caught. They surrender immediately. Below deck, the team finds the second phase of production. This ship handles refinement, converting cocaine base into pure cocaine hydrochloride. The equipment is even more sophisticated than Atlantic Horizon. Automated systems, computer-controlled reactions, quality control laboratory. These aren't improvised jungle labs. This is industrial-scale pharmaceutical production applied to illegal drugs with precision and efficiency that rivals legitimate manufacturing facilities. The seizure includes 200 kilograms of finished cocaine, plus 3,000 kilograms of cocaine base waiting for processing. Total value approximately $200 million. The largest maritime cocaine seizure in Caribbean in 5 years. And there's still one ship remaining. Coast Guard cutter Stratton locates Ocean Trader at 18:30 hours. Ship position 380 nautical miles north of Aruba. This vessel runs different course, heading toward Florida, attempting to reach U.S. waters, maybe hoping for political asylum, maybe planning beach landing. Either way, Stratton intercepts. The Stratton is a Legend-class national security cutter, 418 feet long, 4,500 tons, top speed 28 knots, heavily armed, 57mm gun, close-in weapon system, small arms. She's designed for exactly this mission. Drug interdiction, maritime security. She carries 2 MH-65 Dolphin helicopters, over-the-horizon boats, full lead-it complement. Commander Robert Torres commands the Stratton, 20 years Coast Guard service, hundreds of interdictions. He approaches Ocean Trader cautiously. This is the 3rd ship. The cartel knows 2 ships are captured. They might fight, might scuttle the vessel, might do something desperate to avoid capture. At 19:20 hours, Stratton closes to 3,000 yards. Ocean Trader is still underway, running north. Torres broadcasts warnings. No response. He fires warning shots from 57mm gun. The rounds splash close, 50 meters from the ship's bow. Ocean Trader doesn't stop, doesn't acknowledge, just keeps running. This is unusual. The other ships stopped after warning shots. This crew is different, more determined, more desperate, possibly more dangerous. Torres makes decision. Disable the vessel. The 57mm gun is highly accurate. Computer-controlled fire control. He orders precision shots. Target the ship's steering gear, the aft section, where rudder mechanisms are housed. 3 rounds, carefully aimed, not to sink the ship, just to stop it. The gun fires. Boom, boom, boom. 3 rounds in rapid succession. Impacts visible on Ocean Trader's stern. The ship lurches, begins turning in circles, steering disabled, no longer controllable, dead in the water. Mission accomplished. No casualties, Vessel disabled without sinking. If you believe Coast Guard precision saves lives, type Navy Wire in the comments. Stratton deploys RHIB with leadette team. They approach carefully. Ocean Trader's crew might be armed, might be waiting. The team boards from stern using damaged area as entry point. 10 Coast Guardsmen, weapons ready, expecting resistance. But they find only 14 crew members, hands raised, surrendering, no weapons, no fight. Just criminals caught in the act who understand that continued resistance is futile. The cargo hold reveals the final piece of the operation. This ship doesn't process cocaine, it stores it, warehouses the finished product, waiting for distribution. The hold contains 2,400 kilograms of pure cocaine, vacuum-sealed packages, ready for shipment, plus detailed records, ledgers, computer files, distribution networks, customer lists, financial records. This is intelligence goldmine. The total seizure across 3 ships: 4,400 kilograms of finished cocaine, 3,000 kilograms of cocaine base, complete production facilities, records and intelligence, 34 arrested cartel members, combined street value exceeding $400 million. This is the largest coordinated maritime drug operation takedown in Caribbean history, according to DEA statistics, and represents complete dismantling of an entire trafficking network. Navy Wire analysis shows this operation's significance beyond immediate seizures. The intelligence recovered maps entire cartel structure, supply chains, distribution networks, financial operations, money laundering. This data enables follow-up investigations, arrests, asset seizures, dismantling the organization from top to bottom. Superior coordination, advanced tactics, Navy Wire. The 3 ships get towed to U.S. ports: Atlantic Horizon to Miami, Caribbean Star to San Juan, Ocean Trader to Key West. Federal prosecutors prepare cases. The evidence is overwhelming. The crew members caught operating drug labs, the chemicals, the equipment, the finished cocaine, the records. These are open and shut cases with minimal legal complexity. The arrested personnel face multiple federal charges: operating drug manufacturing facility, possession with intent to distribute, conspiracy, money laundering, maritime drug trafficking. Each charge carries substantial prison time. Combined sentences will likely exceed 20 years for most crew members. Life sentences for the leaders identified through captured communications and organizational documents. The ships themselves get seized as instrumentalities of crime. Under federal forfeiture laws, vessels used in drug trafficking become government property. The ships will be auctioned. Proceeds fund law enforcement operations, compensation for victims. The equipment gets destroyed, too dangerous to repurpose. The chemicals disposed of properly. Environmental protocols followed strictly. But the investigation expands beyond the ships. The intelligence reveals land-based components, suppliers providing precursor chemicals, brokers arranging coca paste shipments, distributors receiving finished cocaine, money launderers handling proceeds. Each connection becomes separate investigation. Federal agents across multiple agencies coordinate follow-up operations. Within 2 weeks, the expanded investigation yields results. 23 additional arrests across 5 countries: Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, United States. The arrests include high-level cartel members, financial operators, chemists, logistics coordinators. The floating laboratory operation wasn't isolated. It was part of larger trafficking empire generating billions annually. The financial investigation traces money flows. The cartel invested approximately $15 million in the 3 ships. Equipment, modifications, operating costs. They produced cocaine for 18 months. Estimated total production, 15,000 kilograms. Street value approaching $1.5 billion. Return on investment, 10,000%. That's why cartels innovate. That's why they take risks. The profit margins are astronomical when operations succeed. But this operation failed. Total loss for the cartel. $15 million investment. $400 million inventory seized. Key personnel arrested. Network disrupted. Distribution channels compromised. Financial accounts frozen. The cartel leadership faces difficult choice. Try to rebuild or exit the business. Either way, months or years to recover from this takedown. Which enforcement approach works best against cartels? Type A for maritime interdiction. Type B for financial investigation. Type C for international cooperation. The U.S. Navy's role in this operation demonstrates evolving mission set. Modern destroyers don't just prepare for conventional warfare. They conduct law enforcement operations, support interagency efforts, provide presence and capabilities that civilian agencies lack. The Porter and Jason Dunham brought sensors, communications, and credible force that made these interdictions possible against vessels operating hundreds of miles offshore. Captain Chen and his Porter crew receive recognition. Navy Achievement Medal for the entire crew. Captain Chen gets a Navy Commendation Medal. The leadette team receives Coast Guard medals. Commander Park on Jason Dunham gets similar recognition. Coast Guard Cutter Stratton crew receives unit citation. These awards acknowledge professional excellence, successful complex operation, 0 casualties, complete mission success. The operation also generates valuable lessons learned. Floating laboratories represent new challenge. Traditional interdiction focuses on transporters, fast boats, go-fasts, semi-submersibles. Now cartels operate production facilities at sea. Law enforcement must adapt, must develop new detection methods, new interdiction tactics, new legal frameworks for prosecution. The thermal imaging proved critical. Ships with unusual heat signatures warrant investigation. DEA now incorporates thermal analysis into vessel tracking protocols. Satellites equipped with infrared sensors can detect chemical processing heat. This technology helps identify suspicious vessels before they're even boarded through remote sensing capabilities that revolutionize maritime drug enforcement. The intelligence fusion process also proved effective. NSA signals intelligence, DEA human sources, Coast Guard vessel tracking, Navy surveillance, all agencies contributing, all data integrated. That fusion enabled locating 3 specific ships among thousands of vessels. That's the power of coordinated intelligence operations, and demonstrates why interagency cooperation is essential for complex maritime law enforcement. International cooperation mattered too. Colombia provided initial intelligence about coca paste shipments. Panama shared vessel registration data. Multiple nations contributed. The U.S. led the operation, but success required international participation. Drug trafficking is transnational crime, requires transnational response with coordination across borders and jurisdictions. The legal proceedings move forward through federal courts. The 34 arrested crew members appear before magistrate judges. Bail denied for all. Flight risk. Danger to community. Most defendants plead guilty. Sentences range from 15 years to life. The 3 ship captains get life without parole. They ran the operation. They're held fully responsible for industrial-scale drug manufacturing with aggravating factors that include quantity and sophistication. The 23 additional arrests from expanded investigation face similar charges, most in foreign countries. Extradition requests filed. Some nations cooperate, others don't. Venezuela refuses extradition, so those suspects remain free, for now. But they're named in sealed indictments. If they travel to countries with extradition treaties, they'll be arrested and sent to face American justice. The financial component yields significant assets. Prosecutors seize $47 million in bank accounts, real estate worth $23 million, vehicles, businesses, investments. Everything connected to the trafficking organization gets frozen, then forfeited, turned over to government. The money funds continued law enforcement operations, victim compensation programs, international drug control efforts. Navy Wire tracked similar operations over the past decade. Cartels constantly innovate. When land labs get raided, they move to sea. When fast boats get intercepted, they build semi-submersibles. When semi-submersibles get detected, they try cargo containers. When containers get inspected, they corrupt officials. Each countermeasure spawns new trafficking method requiring new enforcement response. The floating laboratory concept will likely spread. Other cartels will copy it, build their own, operate more carefully, use better operational security. The cat-and-mouse game continues. Law enforcement must stay ahead, must anticipate next innovation, must develop countermeasures before they're needed through proactive intelligence and technological development. The Navy's role will continue expanding. As cartels move further offshore, civilian law enforcement lacks reach. Navy ships provide that reach, provide sensors, provide credible presence. The partnership between Navy, Coast Guard, and civilian agencies becomes increasingly important. Each brings unique capabilities. Combined effect exceeds individual contributions. Looking forward, expect more floating laboratories. Expect cartels to improve designs, better concealment, better operational security, maybe submarines, maybe fully submersible production facilities. The technology exists. Cartels have resources. They'll continue innovating. Law enforcement must innovate faster through investment in detection technology and international cooperation. The quiz answer: Venezuelan cartel operated 3 cargo ships as floating cocaine laboratories. MV Atlantic Horizon, MV Caribbean Star, and MV Ocean Trader produced cocaine at sea using industrial equipment. U.S. Navy destroyers USS Porter and USS Jason Dunham, plus Coast Guard cutter Stratton, coordinated takedown. Seized 4,400 kilograms finished cocaine, 3,000 kilograms cocaine base, complete production facilities, and extensive intelligence. 34 crew members arrested. Follow-up investigation yielded 23 additional arrests across 5 countries. Total operation value exceeded $400 million with complete network disruption. 3 questions for you. Should the Navy expand its drug interdiction role? Can cartels be defeated through maritime enforcement alone? What happens when criminal organizations develop submarine-based production facilities? Subscribe to Navy Wire, where elite naval operations meet real-world law enforcement. We cover the missions, the technology, the intelligence, the people disrupting transnational crime. Hit subscribe, enable notifications. Next episode reveals human trafficking interdiction operations that prove naval forces protect more than just national security. This is Navy Wire, superior coordination, advanced tactics, unstoppable justice.